Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Charger Chat. I am Megan Owens, the Program Manager for Alumni Relations, and I am so excited to have you join us today. We will be talking with Cade, our Athletics Director, who will be giving us an update on what our fall sports will look like this semester, and as well giving us an update on our spring sports. Cade, go ahead and tell us what we can expect for athletics.
At this time in the academic and the athletic year, we are finishing up fall sports, getting ready to play whatever winter sports we have. And this year was a little bit different. You probably know that athletics across the country is a lot different. We were able to compete in cross country only. It's the only thing that we have competed in this fall. And, you know, those teams just had a great year, and it was really, really exciting just to be able to have those things, be able to have competition. It was about 6 months in between home competition for our athletic department, from our last men's lacrosse game back in March until we hosted a cross country meet in September. And so it was exciting to get them back on. It's totally different. You know, with everything that we do, we are testing a lot of people every week. All of our athletes get tested every week. But I did want to brag on those cross-country teams, as our women had a really, really solid year, finished 4th in conference and had some PRs. And our men's team went undefeated this fall, including, you know, participating in a couple really big meets, beat some really big Division I programs, won our conference meet, participated in a national invitational meet for the top teams around the country. And the NCAA wasn't having a fall championship, but our cross-country team did win that national invitational meet, which is as close to a national championship as we could possibly hope to have this fall. And so they finished off an undefeated season. And so that's really, really exciting, and a lot to be celebrated with our running sports. And Coach Kane just did a great job. He's won about 50 Coach of the Year awards now, and he won another one this year. And so just want to brag on them. They don't always have as much publicity because it's not as much of a spectator sport. People don't always know about it as much, but they had a really great year. Our other fall sports, volleyball and soccer, are set to begin competing this spring. And so we're hoping that soccer starts competing in February and volleyball starts competing in March. You know, I'm excited to, I'm no longer the volleyball coach as of last week. We've hired a new head coach, John Mosley, who was formerly at West Georgia and at Shorter, and has been a college head coach for a long, long time, and has been familiar with our league. And he's a native of the state of Alabama, and he's going to do a great job. And we're really pleased with that hire, and our team is excited about that. And so those fall sports are set to compete in the spring. It's going to be a little bit different. They won't compete for NCAA championships, but the Gulf South Conference, they are having what they're calling a spring championship series. And so there will still be a bracket play at the end and a tournament, something we can compete for championships. And so we're excited about that. Our spring sports, I'll go ahead and talk about them, are scheduled to play pretty much as normal. All of the sports across Division II and, you know, a lot of Division I sports are playing a shorter schedule this year, not as many games. And so that is also true for all of our spring sports. They will not have as many competitions. It will be mostly conference competitions, but all of those sports are set to play. You know, one thing about last spring, whenever we finished, when we had to shut down, you know, women's lacrosse was set to defend the Gulf South Conference championship. Softball and baseball were both leading the conference whenever they got shut down. Both of those were ranked, baseball as high as 12, depending on what poll. And so they kind of were left with a pretty hungry taste in their mouth from last spring. And so we're excited about all of those. We also have a new men's lacrosse coach, Connor Doyle. And so we have a lot of things we're looking forward to in the spring. Winter sports. This is something that we have really been spending a lot of time working with. For us, basketball and hockey are probably our two biggest season ticket holder sports. And they also are the two that are probably taking the most time to figure out on how we're going to compete this year. I'll speak to basketball first. Basketball is scheduled to play a conference-only schedule for the most part. They're scheduled to begin play next week. So right now it's November 30th. They're scheduled to begin play on December the 11th. and they're going to play basically weekend series. They're going to play back-to-back days, which is different. So every Friday and Saturday, they'll be playing at the same site. So for instance, our men are going to host Mississippi College, and they're going to host them on Friday and on Saturday. And at the same time, our women will be at Mississippi College on Friday and Saturday. All of these things have been done to minimize the risk of spread. It's almost creating a small little bubble within that same arena, playing against the same people. The same people will be there working the games. And also it limits travel expenses across the conference whenever you're not going to as many places. We're split up into 2 divisions for this year only. And so we're only playing people that are the closest conference opponents. We're not spending a day in between contests. And so all these things were done to try to maximize our schedule and play as many games as we could, while also trying to keep the cost at a minimum, as we are obviously still in the middle of this pandemic and still trying to save money wherever we can. And so basketball is going to look a little bit different. As of right now, winter championships for the NCAA are still on. And so we're scheduled to have a Gulf South Conference season, a Gulf South Conference tournament, and hopefully still be eligible for postseason play in the NCAA tournament. Both of our basketball teams last year had qualified for the NCAA tournament, and both were at the site where the tournament was going to be played at whenever we had the championships canceled. And so that was a pretty disappointing way for them to end, but also still a lot of momentum for them going into the next year. And so we're excited to see what our basketball teams can do, and hopefully they can pick up right where they left off. You've probably seen men's team is ranked pretty high to begin, depending on what poll you look at. But I think both teams are going to be ready to go and ready to be hopefully even better than they were last year. Hockey is obviously, hockey's went through some tough months, just because of some decisions and trying to get the team reinstated, trying to get the team to have a home for the future in a conference, and trying to, most importantly, play this season. And I'm really, really proud of our new coaching staff. Lance West is our new head coach, and Lance has many years experience with our program. And it's really unique that all 3 of our coaches are UAH alums. So with Lance and with Carlos Zernis as our associate head coach and Carmine Guerrero as our assistant coach, we're excited about those guys. They've already played 2 contests. They were up in Pittsburgh this last weekend playing Robert Morris. Shorthanded, guys getting injured, guys not able to travel, and still really competitive in their first 2 games. And I know that those guys were excited to get that game going. 2 things about what the hockey season and maybe the basketball season are going to look like is, we're not going to be able to just put everybody in the stands that we normally are able to do that. The Von Braun Center, we're going to have that limited to about 30% capacity. The seats are already in pods of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, depending on if it's lower bowl and upper bowl. And so right now, we've had a lot of people that have purchased season tickets, and we are working to assign those in order to maximize the amount of people that can be in the building. And so, for instance, somebody may prefer a seat where it is a pod of 6, but they only want 2 seats. Well, we need to move them to a pod of 2 seats so that we can maximize the amount of people that can be in the arena. So that's what we're working on this week with hockey in particular. There's going to be the ice suites will still be there. We're still going to have lower bowl seats. Just some of the things that we normally do, we're probably not going to be able to do, such as chuck-a-puck is not going to happen because that puts people down on the ice that are not under the same protocol as our players and our coaches, and we're trying to limit that. The ban will not be at hockey. That was a conference decision, a decision I don't agree with and don't like, but that was voted on by the conference, and so that's going to look a little bit different. But we are going to be able to have fans currently, and we're hoping that remains the same. Hockey doesn't begin their home schedule until January the 8th, and so they're going to have 4 different series in January and February, 4 different home series, 2 games apiece, so 8 total home games, which is different. We had planned on having 16 home games originally, and now we're down to 8 based on the schedule that was left over. We lost a couple of games because Alaska Anchorage has opted out of the season in our WCHA conference, but we still have 8 home games, and we're looking forward to get that going. Our guys travel this next weekend for their last sets of non-conference games. Even though they're playing conference opponents, they're going to play Lake Superior State as well as Ferris State on their next road trip, and that'll take them into the Christmas break and prepare them for conference play after Christmas. Update on where we are. We are having many conversations with different leagues, trying to get our hockey team into a conference. Met even this morning with some of our donors. Some of them are, I think, on this call or trying to be on this call. And we think we have a good strategic plan. Our alumni have really stepped up to allow us to have a plan, a financial plan that we think is sustainable for the long term. And, we kind of have talked about this amongst ourselves as putting things in a timeline, and so the 3 things that are on that timeline for us are, number 1 was to create a plan that we think is sustainable for the long term. And through partnership with our alumni group and through the university, we have really put together a plan that we think is going to help us long term. So we feel like we've accomplished that first step in our timeline. The second thing in there is to find a home in a conference. And for us, we're basically down to 2 options that meet our geographic footprint. And so we are hopefully having meetings with both of those conference offices this week to, share with them what our strategic plan is. They're trying to help us out as far as what our plan should be. But ultimately, that decision lies within the institutions that those conferences represent. And so we're hoping to put together a package, put together a presentation that will have them invite us to be a part of the conference. So that's where we are right now. Those have been really, really positive steps. And then the third step in that timeline would be trying to improve where we play hockey. If we're able to get into a conference, then we want to figure out a way to get hockey on campus. But that's kind of the order of things that we're worried about right now is sustainable, conference home, and then finally a place to play hockey on campus. And that's been the focus of everything that we've done. If you're keeping up with college sports around the country, back when we announced in May about hockey and about tennis, there have been a lot of different institutions that have made similar announcements in the past months, even recently, even in the last month, where decisions have been made. Most of the time, whenever those decisions are made, the university has not even gone back on what they said they were going to do. They've just stuck with it. And while we had some pretty tough conversations early on, I just do want to give a shout out to Dr. Dawson for being willing to listen and being willing to give hockey another chance. And our alums took that and they ran with it. About their fundraising, how they raised $1 million in less than a week. And so that just says a lot about, I think, both groups really, because we're excited about where we are. And we think we have a good shot of landing in a conference. And we're excited that our guys are getting to play right now. Just backing up to basketball a little bit, because we talked about season tickets. Basketball is going to have about 16% capacity. That includes only about 90 to 95 downstairs seats. There'll be no courtside seats available. So there's going to be 95, not maybe 100 seats downstairs. And then we're looking at, maybe 300 seats upstairs. We are going to have the band playing in Spraggins. We are going to have a student section. And then we're going to have season tickets that can be purchased both downstairs and upstairs. One thing that's different is normally you buy a season ticket, you buy it for the men's and the women's game. This year, they never play on the same day. And so you're going to have the option to buy either a women's ticket, a men's ticket, or a combo ticket if you want to come every time. And so trying to figure out different ways to fill up our stands, but also that's one of our biggest revenue generators. And so trying to figure out a way that we can still generate some revenue as we're not going to be able to have as many people in the stands as we normally do. But basketball is scheduled to play soon. Hockey is scheduled to play at home next month. And while all of that is where we are right now, that's still very fluid. And so we're trying to pay attention to that. If you ever look on our UAHchargers.com page, you'll see kind of a COVID update that's always flashing there on the first page. And that's always the most current information that we have. And so I encourage you to look at that whenever you are trying to find out where we are. As far as anybody that has season tickets in basketball and hockey, you should hear something from us within the next few days as to where your seats are likely going to be and then we'll give you some information about how you will receive your tickets before the first home game. That's pretty much my update. I can answer any questions that anybody might have, as long as they're not above my head and too difficult for me to answer. So I guess, Megan, you're going to control that, I think.
Thank you so much. That was very enlightening. It seems like a lot of people are very excited to find out who can attend the games, how many can attend the games, and when tickets will be available. There is one question of, will it be an equal part attendance for students, faculty and staff, and donors and alumni?
Yeah, good question. I don't know if that was for basketball or if that was for hockey, but whenever we're looking at how do we prioritize who can come to games, the first thing that we want to make sure that we take care of is our student athlete families. And so we're really focusing on 3 different groups, but we want to make sure that we take care of the families of the student athletes. We want to make sure that we take care of our longtime season ticket holders, people that historically come to games, and then we want to be able to take care of our students. And so those are the 3 groups that we're going to focus on. We think that we have a plan in place that will allow all of those to be able to come to games. Right now, until we know specifically how many people are buying basketball season tickets, we won't know how many are going to be available after that. But we're trying to figure that out. We have some reserved for students, we have some reserved for families, and then we have the rest reserved for season ticket holders. And then we'll see how many we have left at that point. Hockey is the same way. We have some that are saved for the student athlete families. And then we have already sold a lot of season tickets, and we still have plenty of tickets available, especially in the upper bowl, that are available to purchase for anyone. So that's kind of where we are right now. Hopefully that answers that question.
Perfect. We have 2 questions in the queue. One of them is, if you don't purchase tickets this year, will you be able to get your same tickets for the next year during a non-COVID year?
Sure. Yeah, good question. And we've had a lot of people that have, I know, been worried about that and sent us an email or a phone call. We're kind of looking at this as a 1 year only. So especially, basketball tickets, where there's only about 100 available of maybe the 500 that we sell in the lower bowl. Next year, we'll go right back to the seats that you had before, and you're going to get the first right to refuse those as we move forward. And so we plan to take care of that. And we want this year to happen, but as far as losing your opportunity to have your season tickets moving forward, we don't want that to impact that in any way. For some people, it may be better to not come to games, and that's okay too. But we're definitely going to honor the history, the historical people that have purchased those. We're going to honor that as we move forward, beginning next year.
Perfect. We have a question. Any plans for Spraggins or other facility renovations?
Yeah, sure. Right now Spraggins is undergoing some things. If you haven't been to Spraggins in a while, you notice that we have a new facade on the outside, and we think that it looks a lot better. It looks more like an athletic facility. We've done some things inside of the gym that we're excited about. When you come in, there's not going to be the same amount of banners up all over the wall. We've painted all of the walls. Knock on wood, but we should have new scoreboards that are in the gym before the first game, if not in the first game, before the first game in January, that are going to be video boards. We're going to be able to do a lot of different things with our boards. They're going to be really big video boards. And so that's going to be a nice addition. We're going to change the way we do banners and just have team banners, and they're not going to be all over the place. I kind of called those a NASCAR wall before. And so we're trying to clean that up a little bit. And then we also have some plans to redo a couple of areas in Spraggins, including our ticket lobby, to renovate that, make it a little bit more welcoming, and also to renovate the varsity room. You may be familiar that we are getting ready to announce our inaugural Hall of Fame class. And so we want that to be something that we can showcase in Spraggins as well. So we're working through where that's going to be, whether it be in a hallway, in the varsity room, what that's going to look like. And so those are some things inside of Spraggins, as well as some nice things on the outside, adding some banners on the light poles and a new sign up on the entrance. It is obvious that it's Spraggins Hall, trying to get a charger head put up on the wall, the backlit charger head, and trying to do some things that make it obvious whenever you enter an athletic facility, and then try to mirror that with the banners and the flags and everything down at Charger Park. So we have a little bit of, it has the same sort of feel. You know, whenever you're in one of our facilities.
Perfect.
Good question.
One more, we have a year or so ago, it was announced that campus would be expanding and adding an ice rink for hockey to be able to play on campus, making it a larger campus feel. Is this still in the plans?
Sure. Yeah, good question. That kind of goes back to what I tried to mention before. Whenever we get to that third part of our timeline, which is after, again, the sustainable financial plan, is after finding a home in a conference, then the area that's Executive Plaza, which is across Sparkman, has some university frontage. That area is about 50 acres. And that is the best spot for us to move on to that third step in that timeline. Right now, we simply have a few just drawings. We don't have anything concrete there. We have to develop a funding plan for that. And that is in the works, but right now the most important thing is us finding a home in a conference. But that is still our plan. That's still what we are presenting to these leagues about the fact that we have this purchased. We have at least initial plans for what we're going to do with that. And so that is definitely something that is still in our plans. It's something that our alumni are helping us work with and something our administration is working with.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. It looks like we have gone through our questions from our guest. Cade, is there anything else you'd like us to know or get excited about, or possibly how to get our tickets?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, obviously we're just excited to be able to have home events. And if you've been on campus at all over the last few months, you know that it has a weird feel, you know, with 60 or 70% of our classes being offered online. That changes even the way that parking lots look, and it changes the amount of people that are going to the cafeteria and the people that you see in Charger Union. And, you know, we're kind of ready for things to look more like a college campus, and we know that we're closer now than we were in August, so we're excited about that. But along with that, we're just excited to be able to watch our student athletes compete, especially watch them compete at home. And if you could just see what these guys do just every day in order to be able to practice, in order to be able to get to work in the weight room, in order to keep themselves safe whenever they go to class, when they go back home, you have a lot to really be proud of with these student athletes. These young men, young ladies are really doing a good job of taking something that is pretty disappointing and trying to make the best of it. Talked a little bit earlier in the semester about some things are going to be different and some things are going to be the same. And the things that are different, I may have already talked about. What does campus look like? And we're wearing masks, you know, just nearly all the time. We're getting tested on a weekly basis. We're not playing as many competitions. But the things that are the same are the fact that they get to be a part of a team. They get to work hard to be better at their sport, at their task, at whatever they're trying to work on. They can get better at it. They're getting stronger. They're getting faster. They're working hard in the weight room. And they're still trying to be the best student that they can be through a really, really trying time. And, you know, you guys, I know everyone on here is probably tired of Zoom, and so are our students. They're tired of it, but they are still really pressing through. And I just want everyone to know that you have something to be really, really proud of. We all know that UAH has a great academic tradition, and I feel like that has not wavered at all through this semester, especially in the way that our students work so hard to maintain their level of academic success. And so for that, I'm really, really proud and just excited. But, you know, for a few weeks, whenever there wasn't any practice, kind of the first time we maybe looked outside and saw a soccer team practicing, because I can see them out my window, or I heard a basketball bouncing in the gym. The first time I heard that, you don't know how much you miss that until it's taken away. And so I think they have a great appreciation for what they get to do. I think they have an understanding that athletics are not the most important thing in life, but it is a great opportunity for them to, you know, it helps them pay for school. It helps them be prepared for their future. It helps them make lifelong friends. It helps them appreciate the people that they're around. It helps them learn time management, discipline, how to be a good teammate. And so for that is something that that hasn't gone away. And that may have actually even been amplified because of the situation. So we're proud about that. As far as, tickets that are coming out, we're going to send out some information pretty soon to the general public for both hockey and basketball season tickets. We're going to try to do as many things. We don't control the VBC as far as the tickets that come in, so they'll still be hard tickets. We're probably going completely contactless with our ticket system here in Spraggins, but we should send out some information about that. But anyone that's interested in tickets, they are welcome to email me. My email address is cade.smith@uah.edu, and I can for sure get them in touch with the right person. Again, we're going to go through that process right now of taking care of those student athlete families and season ticket holders and our students. And then we're going to try to get as many more people in those games as we can. So if you have an interest in that, please feel free to reach out. UAHchargers.com is going to have information on where we are with our current arena policies, attendance policies, anything like that, whether it be in Spraggins, the Von Braun, or at Charger Park. And so I encourage you to look there for any information that might be coming up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Cade. This has been such a great chat. We're so glad that we got an update and that we can know everything that's going on. We appreciate your time. And thank you to our guests for joining us today for Charger Chat. We hope you have a great rest of the day, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Go Chargers.